What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tide Talk. It's Sunday, September 29th, and we're back to share our thoughts on RIFC's 3-1 road victory in San Antonio. So cozy up, crack a beer. Let's dive into this one. Just a reminder, each episode is available on YouTube, and if you're watching now, please take a second to subscribe to our channel and click the like button on this video. You can also find us on your favorite podcast applications like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and if you listen on one of those, we'd really appreciate it if you took a minute to leave us a 5-star rating and a short review, as it helps more people, more fans find our podcast. And if you're not already using the Club Collector app, click the link in this episode description, get on the site, and go enter the code TIDETALK, all one word, to get a free pack to add to your collection. I'm your host, Matt, joined by my good friend Ryan. Watch the game with Ryan at Providence Brewing. And, as people mentioned in the comment, the Tide Talk Bear is so cool. Can came out awesome. I think we kind of cleaned them out, too, of the fridge. I think we got the last ones in existence. So pretty awesome. Just a great time at Providence Brewing last night. Really wanted to thank Efren, Will, and all of our friends over there for making it a special night for us, and all who were able to get their hands on some of this golden deliciousness, we'll call it. Yellow will be a common theme we discuss in this episode. But Ryan, you are in Tide Talk Studio 2.0 for you, moving into the new digs. How's your day going, my friend?
It's good. Yeah. The background here is under construction. I got some big plans here. We'll see when they come together. But yeah, no, it was really nice being at the Providence Brewing again. I feel like it's been a little bit since we were there. And, while it's always great, we haven't really witnessed a win there. So even more special being there all together and seeing a win at Providence Brewing finally.
Key talking points. I want to thank everyone who took the time out to join us and tried to watch or listen. Sorry, the audio was just not vibing for us.
Yeah, we were saying by like the 100th episode, we'll figure it out, but we're getting there. We're trying different stuff every time.
Yeah, I think for the next one, we're planning on getting back there again before the season's over. So if you've never made one of the Providence Brewing watch parties that they do, and us as their pregame entertainment, I guess you can call it, or if you want to go that far, certainly drop in. It's just a really good time. If it's a later match, you got to plan your Tallulahs ahead of time.
Yes.
But Tallulah's Taqueria is back open, so you can pick some up before the game. It was the carne asada burrito was top notch. But like I said, always a good time there. Thank you to everyone who came out, joined us, and tuned in on YouTube. Or I'm not even going to put that one on audio. I don't think it's just going to exist on the YouTube. I don't want to make anyone want to jump out of their car while it's driving. But we've got a lot to talk about as the Tide rolled and got their first road victory in quite some time. First victory at our Providence Brewing location as well. And, it was an interesting match, to say the least. There was a lot that happened starting right away, but the starting 11 for this one was Koke, Vegas, and net. I know, Ryan, you and I were both a little surprised to see this with the birth of his daughter. And, I think we kind of thought or expected Jackson Lee to get the start in net. But, hey, props to Koke for getting out there. I'm sure he's a little sleep deprived. I know what it's like having a newborn. It's not the funnest. Ryan, you'll suffer that fate someday, I'm sure. But I got to give him props. The rest of the lineup was Stoneman, Yao, and Nodarse on the back line. Holstad, Quizera, Turnbull, Fuson, Haraval, Ibarra, and Chico round out the rest of the starting 11. I guess other than Koke, any other big surprises for you on this one?
Yeah, I thought there were two interesting ones. I think the biggest call was no Jack in this one. So Jack P, ever since he's returned from I almost said being loaned back to the Revs, but that's not how it works. But when
you never know.
Yeah, I mean, his loan spell being terminated here and then him coming back, he's been kind of mainstay in the team. And Matt and I, we've had some good conversation. I know Andrew Quadros had a conversation about it. There's been a couple of those about should Jack maintain his place no matter what, no matter form? Because I don't think we've seen the best of Jack since he's come back. So I think that was one of the big calls that he made. And the second one was no JJ. In this game that I thought was going to be really physical, and I think we saw that play out last night. I really thought JJ's physicality could be a massive advantage in this one. So not seeing that there. Not that I was worried, but I was a little surprised.
I get that. And this was a physical one. It started off really chippy, but it started off with a bang, and the bang came in the form of Albert Dequa and, our guy Noah putting a really good ball in too. So let's take a look at that first goal. Club record time scoring goal, fastest goal in club history that gave the Tide the 1-0 lead early on.
An hour, perfect conditions for soccer here at the end of September. With Katie Goodman and our entire crew, I'm Dan Weiss. Thanks for joining us in an early run for Dequan and an early goal for Rhode Island. How about that start? 21 seconds into the match, it's that man Dequan, and Rhode Island needs 1-0.
Well, excuse me.
So 21 seconds in, a great long ball. Noah gets a great head to it, puts it right on a platter for Chico to just, fire it home, slot us home, and get the Tide going early. We haven't seen, an early goal of late. We've been conceding first, however many it is now, and it's been the common thread. So really good to see us get on the board first. That was one of my big worries coming into this one, is that we were going to concede first and kind of play catch up, but a different Tide, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the big things we saw when we looked at the data of like what's kind of happened since we went on that big run of form over the summer. And then we've kind of had this, I think I called it like rough seas or something like that, the past like 7 or 8 games. And one of the big problems is we've been just falling behind early. And a lot of times it's to teams that we really have no business conceding to. And it's through usually a sloppy error or something that we're almost gifting it to them. So for us to almost kind of get a bit lucky in a way, like I think that was just such a perfectly executed play. The person who's not getting any credit is Grant Stoneman. That was an absolutely unbelievable ball for him. First time to Noah having the wherewithal to then head it over to Chico. And then
the
Chico,
hop it takes to get to Noah is just incredible. It makes you wonder like how thick that field is, or if they're playing on cement, right?
They have like extra the rubber stuff underneath to really spring it back up. But yeah, I mean, it was just a really well executed play. I think we've almost needed one like that of like, yeah, just getting it off our backs. I feel like a lot of our goals, we just never, we talked about at the beginning of the season, we've talked about it as of late. It's like we just haven't been getting any easy goals as of late. So for us to get one, to go ahead and fastest goal in team history, which, obviously short history, but that's a really fast goal. And you have to love it.
Hopefully Craig gets to work fast and gets that on a Club Collector card. I'm sure it'll be coming soon. We have Chuck in the chat who was at the game.
Yes.
Hopefully some of our, input from Royce in the away end was able to give you a good match day experience. Chuck, feel free to type some paragraphs in the chat, and we'll do our best to get them up piece by piece. So we'd love
my big question
more about your experience.
Yeah, how many of the 50 beers did you try? That's my biggest question.
That's right. They did have that 50 beer tap truck thing going on, so that's awesome. Susan's here. Happy belated birthday to Susan in the chat. We'll get to hers with the 3 words review later on too, but after the goal, Ryan, I thought Chuck said he had 5 of the 50, so that's good to see. After the goal, I thought for the next, 20 minutes, and we know what happened at the 20-minute mark, we kind of took our foot off the gas a little bit. The press wasn't there. It wasn't really digging in. It wasn't really high. It was kind of possession for the sake of possession, but nothing really probing or really trying to get at the San Antonio back line.
Yeah, I think the scoreline made it really strange because obviously being up 1-0, like there's a little bit of pressure off of you in that some ways, but I did feel like the rest of the half really was a lot more of what we've seen as of late. It was really that kind of basketball game. No one could really get a hold of it. Really choppy. There's a ton of fouls, just a ton of just broken play in this one. We knew it was going to be pretty physical and pretty chippy. I think they said it on the broadcast, but San Antonio is number 1 in fouls per match. We're like in the 6th or so. And honestly, I guess as of late, we've been really good because beginning of the year, we were like by far number 1.
Right.
But there are 2 teams who like to tackle, who like to get physical. And it lived up to the billing. Unfortunately, I think the ref, I know we're going to talk about him.
We're going to talk about him.
Yeah. But I just think there was no flow. It was really like a basketball game that first half. And we never really settled down after that first goal.
I think, like you said, basketball game's kind of a good summary of it because it was just back and forth. No one could get that foothold in it. It was physical. And I don't think, going into the half level had anything to do with either team playing their style and kind of dominating it or pushing it on the opponents. It was just more to do with the fact that it was an ugly, sloppy game. It was almost like the type of game you would see in the rain. It reminded me of because it was physical. It was sloppy. It was messy. It was just bad. But as we mentioned, San Antonio leveled it in the 20th minute with a familiar face for most New Englanders. So let's take a look at that goal.
Tonight, the last few matches, they've really tried to sit back and just kind of pick their spots. Tonight, knowing they need 3 points, they're not sitting back defensively. Flores, Blanco, that's headed in! That's wonderful!
So Juan Agudelo levels it at 1 there in the 20th minute. Ryan, Do you have any idea what Karifa Yao was doing on that one?
No, I generally don't. I've watched it so many times, and I think Agudelo kind of sends him the wrong way, maybe, and he kind of touches his back, and maybe Karifa thinks he's going the other way, but I genuinely have no idea. He totally, I mean, as Scott says, completely lost his man, and that was as free of a header as you're going to get in the 3 yard, not even the 6 yard box, in the 3 yard box as possible. So it was really, really bad.
It was a great ball in. I'll definitely give the San Antonio the credit on that one. But
yeah, because at first I was like, oh, did like we not get someone out there to like bother the cross? No, Turnbull was there. Like he obviously didn't block it, but he was in the vicinity of it, and it was a really, really beautiful cross. But at the same time, I mean, if you're going to give a guy who's played as many matches as Agudelo has, like he's going to bury that in the 6 yard box there.
Oh, sure. You know, we got our guy Timmy in the chat who says Karifa Yao apologist. Me is in shambles. But I think one of the first things you really teach anyone or you learn as a defender, not just in soccer, but in any sport, is you never turn your back to the ball or the person that you're covering. He did both here and just got absolutely cooked for it. We've seen, and you know, to a point, Timmy, I'm with you. I've been a Karifa Yao apologist on here because I think a lot of the goals that come in his face or in his area is a lot to do with Frank Nodarce being out of position, and he's one of the last to recover. But this Karifa Yao is the one to recover for him and get there and, you know, try to clean things up. But this was 100% on Yao. You really got to put it on him. But, you know, like I said, good ball in, but just absolute terrible defending on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing to add. Yeah.
That's it. Going back for the rest of the first half, we did have a pretty good save by Koke in the 35th minute. It was a nice diving save, but he kind of made a meal and gave it a little bit of spillage. But this was the save of the match that the club had tweeted out.
Agudelo flicks to Solignac, edge of the box, sends it back across. Jorge Hernandez, saved by Koke Vegas.
So a good chop. I think out of the two keepers, Koke very much had the less busy night. If you actually go on San Antonio's Twitter, they post their goal video, and then the rest of the videos from their highlights are just keeper saves. There was that clay curler that was an absolute banger. That that's probably going to win Save of the Week, or at least be nominated for it, in my opinion. But you know, the rest of this half, like we mentioned, was pretty much just touch and go. A lot of fouls, kind of getting back at it. And overall, pretty much a tough watch.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I loved in this half, I think carried over into the second was I think we did a really good job, especially like Chico running the channels and behind. I don't think we've seen a lot of that this year, and I thought that really that kept them honest. I think we benefited from it in the second half. I think Yao, a couple of our midfielders, they kept kind of curl that ball in behind. And I did think that was we were creating a bit of danger that way. I don't think we were really creating danger any other way, but that was a bit new for us. And there was a couple of adjustments we made this game that I really liked. And that was one of the ones where I was like, okay, we're trying things, which is what you always want to see, especially when the team isn't in the best run of form or isn't getting results as much as you'd like.
Yeah, right on. Before we get to the rest of the first half and the stats, we're going to pull up some of Chuck's comments to give you a little bit of insider experience of what it was like. He said, I love the stadium. Not a bad seat in the house. I was front row behind RIFC's bench. I was wearing my Koke lavender jersey. Met a few great people in the tailgate prior to the game. That's always good to hear. Chuck also added, in the stadium, the fans were all over, in caps, coach and the players. Some absolute pricks, but hey, they were into it.
Yeah.
And then he added, of the 4 stadiums I've been to, which are RIFC, Phoenix, San Antonio, and Orange County, this was probably the second best. Which one was your best, Chuck?
Chuck, real interesting
on that. So we'll get our stats from the first half, and then we'll get that final answer in there. But first half stats were 56% possession in favor of the host. They outshot us 8-5, 2 shots on target apiece, 1 big chance apiece, 131 passes at 73% possession completion for San Antonio, 99 accurate passes, so pretty low for RFC at 70%. Each team committed 10 fouls in the first half, so 20 fouls and only 1 corner.
I was going to say, really interesting on those 10 fouls each. How many yellow cards each team? Must have been even, right?
No.
Weird.
I don't have it.
I have it. It's 4 yellow cards for Allen FC and only 1 for San Antonio. Strange. Real weird.
Right. So Chuck adds that it was Orange County was by far his best stadium experience.
Chuck, I don't want to be a jerk, but wrong answer, my friend.
You could have. Maybe he's saving to change it to Tidewater. He's waiting for that.
Yep.
There are you going with there. All right. So getting to kind of the discrepancy in falls and yellow, not falls because the falls were dead even, but the discrepancy in yellow cards. Damn, did I lose it? I had the referee's name pulled up. Damn it.
Give us home address as well. How much info do we have?
Yeah. So like this was just insane. I tweeted out earlier today that if the USL Championship wants to take itself serious as a league, you have to have better officiating performance. You got to do something about a performance like that. And you can actually go on, I believe it was SofaScore, I found it, that you could go back and look at his last however many matches. And this isn't out of the realm for him. He had one with 7 yellows and 2 reds, 8 yellows and 2 reds. So giving reds and double-digit yellows was not uncommon for this official. Of course, I'm not going to find it now that I'm actually looking for it. But he was the star of the show. And I think you said to me at one point, Ryan, Sergei Demanichuk, Ukrainian official. So Sergei, I don't know. I read an article that he officiated a match that was, in honor of world peace, but he chose violence and war with the fucking cards in San Antonio. But just tough. Like you said to me at the brewery watching this one, like people aren't here to watch this guy, and he was very much the star of the show, or at least he thought so. It was like an audition.
Yeah. So this is it's just like I struggle, and this is something I'm currently, as Matt Hands was goading me left and right last night about. I am struggling with this also as an Arsenal fan. And I think the Premier League has a very similar problem, which is interesting, right? Because obviously the amount of resources the Premier League has available to them is very substantially higher than the USL. Shocker, everybody, sorry. But it's just, I find it really difficult when it seems as though, and I don't think refs are purposely going there and saying, I'm going to call attention to myself, but the absolute best refs are the ones that I never learned their name. They are just ghosts. They're in the background.
Right. You don't want to know they exist.
The point of, not the point of refereeing, but there are so many people who pay a lot of money. They put a lot of time. They put a lot of their energy. And they derive a lot of their joy and happiness and sadness and frustration, all these different things from these matches. And for you to go in and then dictate kind of the way these matches go via like yellow card happiness to give red cards, like no one shows up and are like, we really want to see 11 verse 10, or we really want to see 10 verse 9. Like no one goes into it saying that's why we want to do this. And it's just like, it's so frustrating. And again, I'm someone who I think the ref should have as little of an impact on the game as possible. And anytime you are bringing a team down to 10 men, and luckily for us, it didn't end up impacting us, but you are severely disadvantaging that team. The same way I also am very big on if there is even a remote chance you don't give a penalty, don't give a penalty. Again, you're putting a lot of onus. You're influencing the score and influencing the outcome of these matches severely when you're doing these things. So yeah, I don't understand what his point was. And some of those fouls were just very little. I mean, there was no one on Rhode Island FC who had more than 2 fouls this match. No one on Rhode Island FC had more than 2 fouls.
Crazy.
And yet,
we had all those cards.
Yeah, I have it written down here. We had 8 yellows for players only, and then Kano got one as well. I think you made the joke, but like it's shocking that Koke just didn't get one for time wasting right at the end, just to like round it all out.
Just to take the piss.
But yeah, like in the second half, which I don't know, we're just jumping ahead to this. But second half, we had 4 yellows to their 3. We only had 5 fouls to their 8. We had 4
yellows on 5 fouls.
5 fouls. One of them was for dissent or time wasting or something for Quizera, but like.
And it was the Frank pick up the ball, or was that the first half?
That was the first half too.
Yeah.
That was
stupid.
Honestly, that was dumb. That was like Frank. But again, it's just like this. It wasn't like it was someone with the crazy amount of fouls. And I think the craziest thing, right? The person who had the most fouls in the match was Juan Agudelo, and guess who didn't have a single yellow card? Juan Agudelo. So it's the consistency. It's just like the heavy-handedness, and it is just influencing matches. And I'm not here for it. I don't want to see it. It ruins games. And at the end of the day, like you're reffing and being paid money to ref a children's game, and don't suck all the joy out of it. There are people who pay money to see it, to be there at the stadium and try all the 50 beers like Chuck. There are people who watched at a brewery like us last night. People on TV who are paying a subscription to watch this kind of stuff.
50 beers.
Yeah. So I just truly don't understand reffing a game that way.
No, I hear you. Coach Almeida adds he is a FIFA official. He came just for the payout in the cards. And I did see that when I looked up his matches. To Evan's credit, he did a Crystal Palace match, so hopefully he fucked them. But neither here nor there. Second half got off with a bit of a bang, with Clay getting it going in the 51st minute and giving the Tide the 2-1 lead. So let's take a look at that Clay Golstad goal.
Grant Stoneman, Ibarra. Haribo off his back heel. Deekwell drops it. What a goal! What a finish from that man, Clay Holstad, who nearly had one a moment ago on a tremendous read from the corner.
So let's start with the Chico layoff first. Chico, you can see
I was going to start with Haribo getting bundled.
Haribo got planted, just absolutely destroyed right on the edge of the box. But Sergey not even taking a fucking look at that one.
No play on. No, nothing wrong there.
No. And then Chico, you can kind of see his head turn when that ball's coming in, see it, and then he sets it up just absolutely beautiful with that back heel leave off and just I think a Clay-esque finish that we've been seeing, from him. Clay was feeling it in this one. There was a home match that I can't pull it off the top of my head that reminded me of it, where Clay was just kind of pinging shots from everywhere. This was very reminiscent of that in my mind. You knew he was going to get at least one with the curl and pace he had on the shots, but a really, really good finish from Clay, but an elite layoff from Chico.
Do you think there was something in the scouting report where they were like, layoffs are the key to victory? Because that wasn't our only layoff goal of the night. And but yeah, I great read by Chico. I mean, that's kind of hold-up-esque play that you would hope to see from the system we're playing. And then, like you said, I had it written down, like Clay was so aggressive in the second half. I don't know what was said at halftime, but one thing I really did, and we'll get to this at some point, but the way that we set up the midfield for the night, it seemed like Clay had a bit of a freer role than he normally does. And I think in the second half, it really paid off, where he was just ripping shots. And I mean, we were talking about it at the brewery. It's just like the consistency that he is just like shooting just laser beams in and around the goal. Like he never misses by much. And it is incredible. And shout out to him. That was his left foot too, that he curled that one into the corner. So yeah, it's just, again, another reason why Clay Holstad needs to be in the midfield, and he needs to have that freer role, which I think, again, Haribo especially gives him that ability to do. So yeah, big shout out to Clay. I thought it was, again, a performance that, like, he's putting the cape on. He's saying, I'm not leaving San Antonio without 3 points.
Yeah, and I think Mark Ibarra put in a pretty solid shift too in the midfield with helping to allow Clay get forward. Like you mentioned, he plays that roaming playmaker to a T. He was mostly tucked in along the right side, or right and center, kind of getting in there. But the freedom he had was really highlighted by him just being like, fuck it, and taking ping shots from everywhere, which we definitely love to see. I think back to when we had Kaler on previewing one of the Birmingham matches, was he said that Clay Holstad is the best striker of a ball in the USL Championship, and that was on full display last night in San Antonio.
I don't think I've ever connected with a ball like that in my life, and it just must feel amazing. It must feel very cool.
Imagine being able to do it every time, right?
No.
Absolutely wild. We're going to skip ahead to the 82nd minute to what the club tweeted out, the energy play of the match, with great defending from Grant Stoneman and Karifa Yao, and we're going to tell you why that is a pretty lame take, but let's take a look at that play.
It's onside, flicks it along, and stays out of goal. Brigito! And a save by Coque Vegas.
So there's a good save and catch on the end of it by Coque, but let's take a look, and in case you missed it, because if you blink, it kind of goes to the action right at the beginning. But when I play this clip again, I want you to watch Karifa Yao. And we've already talked about Karifa in a negative sense today. And I like Karifa. He plays hard. He plays tough. But we're going to go through his thought process on this after we watch it again.
It's onside, flicks it along, and stays out.
So he's holding off the San Antonio player. But in doing so, the ball is trickling ever so slowly towards the goal. we're all yelling, kick it at the brewery. Like, just get it away, kick it away. And he did anything but kick it. Thank the Lord, whatever God you pray to, that Grant Stoneman was paying attention to this and swoops in and is able to clear this off the goal line. But the fact that he did not try to clear this absolutely blows my mind. Then the fact that the club tweets this out as the energy play of the game is a pink hat take like no other.
Goal line clearance, you have to do it. I love it.
Yeah, but like the fact that we got
you can't piss off the sponsors. Come on.
The fact that we got to a goal line clearance off of this play blows my mind. Like I don't know. Make it make sense.
I'm gonna give
sense, Ryan.
I'm gonna be so honest with all of you. I don't believe a single word that I'm about to say, but I'm gonna hope.
Don't do it. You're gonna go full sympathizer, aren't you?
No. I think Yao, while he has made some silly like mistakes in terms of like following someone, just being a little over aggressive, he hasn't made like a kind of like goofy thing like that before. And I think I have to hope that Grant Stoneman was yelling, "Got it, got it, got it." I have absolutely no reason to believe that was happening.
Chuck, can you confirm or deny this report?
That's the only way that it makes any sense, that Stoneman was saying, "I'm going to get it." I have literally never seen that before. As the ball is just bouncing into the goal and he's just holding the guy off.
But Ryan, hold on.
It was the energy play of the game because my heart palpitations started. That's why.
And then, like Evan says in the chat, it was the heart attack player of the game. But
yes.
Let's take a look at that. Like, look how close Yao is to the ball, and watch how far Stoneman comes.
Outside, flicks it along, and stays out of goal.
Stoneman's like he's outside of the 6. He's barely in the picture, and Yao is inside of the 6, still holding on for dear life. How? Make it make sense, Ryan.
I don't know. I just, yeah. I mean, hey, energy play of the game. Gotta love it. Shout out to a goal line clearance. Yeah. I don't know. It's certainly a strategy. I'm gonna start there, and then, yeah, I just know the thing that actually worries me more than anything, like this league not having VAR, I think is good in a lot of ways. We've had this discussion before, but like there's no goal line technology. So like if the linesman is a little happy and that ball gets too close to the line, all of a sudden that's a goal, even if it might have went in or not. Like you might have made the right play, but you're giving them the opportunity to call that a goal. So yeah, I don't know. Again, my only way it could make any sense is if Stoneman was saying, if they were talking to each other, but I have absolutely no reason to believe that was happening. So, yeah, I don't know.
Jason says in the chat, if he didn't screen him, Stoneman might not have been able to get a clean look. I don't know. That certainly is a take, Jason. We appreciate it. Matt Hands adds, Yao needed to box the guy out there. I'm about 2 months away from starting my basketball season coaching. I might show this clip to my girls and teach them how to box out from that Karifi Yao box out.
Box out's fine. You then just have to use one of your 2 feet to then kick it. That's the only thing.
Right. Andrew Quadros says Stoneman expected Yao to clear it. He hesitated. No way he was calling Yao off.
Yeah, and Andrew, I didn't believe myself, but that's the only way it makes sense.
Chuck added that second felt like 20 minutes. I'm sure it was must even longer in there. Matt says they score if Yao doesn't block off the man, but he also could have kicked the ball away, Matt. Yeah. That's the big question mark here. He very well could kick the ball away. Kevin adds, glad Yao didn't try for it. I know as a defender facing goal, it is tough. So we've seen
you have to just nudge it out. I play defense. You got to just nudge it, like around the corner, like.
But we'll end it with Jason there in a high blood pressure moment for sure.
Well, this is a great time to plug the Call Hog Corner because I cannot wait to hear what Matt Hands and Kevin say about this one tomorrow night because I disagree wholeheartedly with this take. Speaking of Yao sympathizers.
Yeah, there we go. Another one joins the club, Timmy. Kevin was not in attendance at Providence Brewing, and his name was brought up quite frequently I'm sure you guys can all figure out who mentioned his name on repeat. So it'll be interesting to see the back and take. I think Evan scripted Kevin's whole night throughout that match. So every time something happened, it was Kevin said this. So he has that all played out. So interested to see what the corner will bring tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in live on Twitter, 9 p.m. to get going there. So The feather in the cap for this one was the Joe Brito goal to make it 3-1, and some really fancy footwork and another back heel layoff. So let's take a look at the goal that secured all 3 points.
Man, but what a ball in for Pablo Cisniega.
Meanwhile, at the other end, Rhode Island will put away a third. It's Joseph Brito from Noah Fuson, and the visitors, after nearly conceding the equalizer, come back and score a third, and it's 3-1 Rhode Island late in the match.
So this one, Ryan, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I don't think Noah saw Brito right away. I think Brito's saying, I'm coming in. There's communication in this one because he's already by Brito's path by the time he gets in. So I'll go with communication there rather than feel, just due to the fact that, Brito kind of only gets really those late minute substitution opportunities. So I'll chalk this one up to communication. But again, just a lovely layoff and a great finish from Brito.
Yeah, I mean, 2 assists for Noah on the night. I think he was really, really good. I thought his role this whole game was very interesting. He had a bit of it looked as though he was playing in like a striker pair, but he was more like a number 10. He was floating around. He was back to that position he was kind of playing a bit more before Jack P rejoined. So I'd love to see him get free and to really benefit the team and have impact there. But yeah, Brito, I mean, hey, I don't think either of us have ever been the biggest Joe Brito fans, but at the same time, he's carved out a real niche for himself with this super sub role, and he's had a lot of impact and a lot of late goals for us this season. He always comes in, he's always hustling, he's always trying to make something happen when he comes in off the bench. So yeah, I don't think Joe is the person to start and really take minutes from anybody, but this role he has right now, I think, is doing a lot of good from both himself and the team.
Right, we've seen him come on. We've seen him score late, kind of hard-nosed goals. That one with the double effort off the keeper, where he got it across the line. So that's what's going to keep getting him on the bench. We talked kind of watching this one about how some guys have completely taken themselves out of contention, like a Connor McGlynn, Colin Smith. Like, we just don't see those guys anymore. But Brito must be doing it every day at training too, and he does it every day on the pitch because he's still getting, although starting a lot of the earlier games, obviously much fewer and less minutes than I'm sure he would hope for, but he's still getting on the pitch and getting on the pitch in tight games. It was a 2-1 game when he came on. So final stats for this one.
You're going to skip the 85th minute?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. So 85th minute, we saw our guy Noah get his
I would have happily skipped it if he wanted to skip it. But
yeah, get his second yellow. It was a weird coming to. I think the San Antonio player, you got to give him like a tactical nod there. I think knowing Noah's on a yellow, just had that big assist.
Well, the nice thing is it's a tactical nod because he can do that to any one of Rhode Island FC's players, and it was a good chance to run a yellow already. So just pick somebody.
So he stops. Noah runs into him. They run into each other. Noah gets his second yellow. Gets the red card, and ultimately will be suspended for the Tampa match, a must-win match that we totally need. There is precedence where this one can get looked at and evaluated by an independent panel. I don't see this being rescinded at all. Admittedly not familiar with the USL Championships, rescinding policies and how they do it, but whenever it's a yellow card, I think in any European league, it's usually kind of upheld. You might see a red get rescinded, but I think the fact that this was a yellow, it's going to stand, and we're going to be without Noah for the next one.
Again, it just goes to my rant earlier of you don't have to make that call. You don't have. It was the either the sideline official or the fourth official who made that call, and it's just one of those ones. It was a coming together. It happens every single play, and you just don't. The ref didn't even see it. That's the thing that bothers me the most is he was truly relying on what the linesman and the fourth official were saying. Which, to be clear,
it did happen. It did happen.
Yeah,
right
they are
in front of the bench.
Yeah, they're allowed to do that. I don't want to say that that's something crazy to happen, but it's just, again, you don't need to make that call, and you don't need to make a yellow there. It's a coming together. It happens so often in the game, and to then escalate that to a yellow and a second yellow, I just don't understand, because now you're saying, okay, this team now has to be without one of their better players for a huge match coming up, And, we have another player who's going to be out because of a yellow card accumulation for the Tampa match as well, in Kozera. So while RIFC got 3 points last night, it was a really costly 3 points for us going into this Tampa match next weekend.
Yeah, right on. We'll go through the stats, and then I want to come back to the, kind of the way that'll shape out and what we think after we get all the listener thoughts in as well. But final stats for this one, it was much more even on possession, 52% for San Antonio to 48. We outshot them 16-13, 7 shots on target for RIFC to 4 for San Antonio, 2 big chances to 1 in favor of Rhode Island. And 224 accurate passes at 72% to 201 at 69 for Rhode Island. 18 fouls committed by San Antonio. So more fouls, less cards, 15 for Rhode Island, and 3 corners for San Antonio to 5 for us. So very, very, interesting mixed up tale of all of those fouls. So we'll hop it over to RIFC in 3 and good, better, best. And some people gave us good, bad, and ugly as well. Double take. So
it was a weird match. I get it.
Yeah, you can kind of do both for this one. We'll start in the Tide Talk channel on the Defiant 1636 Discord. Our friend Tim Sheldon added that we came away with 3 points. Best is the team look good. Both halves. Hartford sucks. Can't argue that. Our good friend Leo O, who always writes in, good defensive composure in transition, better, more composure and less frustration than I would have expected when the game was level and yellows were getting thrown around like candy. Both teams got them, but it was clearly lopsided throughout. Best, interplay between the midfield and forwards keeps turning more towards how we did in our unbeating run. Just got to get Jack on that page now. RIFC in 3, offense fueled shockwave. Added a talk.
I say it every week. No, Leo knows ball.
Leo knows ball. He's always got really, really good takes. Talking point, 12 total yellows given out. If I'm counting correctly, do yellows begin to lose meaning or efficacy in a game when a certain amount have been given out? And I think you touched on this, Ryan, when we talked about Sergey and his officiating. It just, when it's that lopsided and it affects the game that much, it's just, what are we doing? What's going on? Our friend Taris is RIFC in 3, a big road win. His good effort was there. Better, big 3 points. Best needed a good road effort, and bad, Fusan and Kuzera not available for next game. Justin F added good team play, bad yellow cards, ugly ref looking like Pierluigi Collina. I thought he looked like John Joe Shelby personally, so I do get that and always love the the mockery there. Matt Hands, his RIFC in 3 was yellows everywhere. Good early goal, better attacking movement, best 3 points. Our friend Tyler with his good scoring goals again, better Clay Golstad, best 3 points on the road. 3 words, all those cards. Our guy Nate Ski, good, better, best, and good, bad, and ugly. His good was 1 to 2 passes. His better stayed offensive minded, best scoring first and early. Then his good, bad, and the ugly. Good win. 3
I like that he went with 2 different goods.
12
like
to
that.
go. Yeah, 4 games left. B, lots of yellows. U, ugly players not available for next game. And his RIFC in 3 is just win, baby. Fastest goal ever in club history, Chico. Justin wants to know, Ryan, is the Tampa game a must win?
No.
I gotta crash the server and kick you off right now. Then
I said there was 2 or 3 must wins remaining. It was San Antonio.
We don't want to hear that. We're gonna kick Ryan off. But sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
It was San Antonio, Tampa, and Loudon. No, not Tampa. San Antonio.
Oh,
Loudon,
Tampa. Yeah. You can't even.
Yeah.
Susan's RIFC in 3 was birthday wish granted. Happy birthday again, Susan. Andrew Quadros, good with the 2 great Fuzan assists. Better, Holstad's left-footed banger. Best first road victory in over 3 months. So thank you to everyone who wrote in on the Discord. Let's take a look on Twitter. We had a ton of responses. Evans RIFC in 3 was respect the game and a screenshot of his little game that he plays, and he had 3-1. So he also had a good RIFC in scoring in the first half. A shock, I know. Better RIFC showing up on the road and winning. Best, they beat the ref and San Antonio. Take your yellows, ref, and shove them up your ass. Love it, Evan. That was one of your best submissions to our content so far. We can get that one on air and not have to worry about anything. Dookie Main, good. Hearing Kano screaming on the sideline. Better the discipline we showed not to get multiple guys sent off, especially with Zach. He was one that you definitely be worried about with all those challenges in the midfield.
It's actually wild. He's managed that. He's had an early yellow the past 2 games in a
Sure.
row, and he's managed it both games, which is very professional of him.
Very heady player. And then Colin's best was we were shooting the ball like back in the summer. Chico was a man possessed. Long shots from Clay brought a tear to my eye. Love that one.
Unreal.
Our guy Kevin, good, quick goal, better coming out of the locker room with motivation, confidence, and more thoughtful possession. You know, we talked about kind of possession just for the sake of possession, but the thoughtful possession, I think, is what helped lead to that Clay goal. And his best, winning when it matters down the stretch. And finally on Twitter, Mike Moniz had his good Chico scoring quickest goal in history, better Clay scoring another banger, and best Noah with a back heel to set up Brito after Koke took my breath away. So thank you to everyone on Twitter. We had our good friend Will, CoolWill20 on Instagram, the Sac Republic content creator with 2-goal thriller for his RIFC 3. And Facebook, our guy Coach Almeida, formation change sealed it for them. Honestly, they played a 4-4-2 all game, which San Antonio had nothing against. When this coach says it, I'm usually on the path to being correct. Good for you, Coach. I love you. I love the toot the old horn. You gotta love it. And finally, RIFC and 3 on Twitter, our good friend Don Lindbergh, yellow, yellow, red was his 3-word take. So we had a ton of listener responses and content, so we love bringing them onto the air. Hopefully that's why you come out and listen. And if you heard your take now, usually the numbers start dropping off. No, just kidding. But do love that everyone brought it out there. But there was some stuff in the chat that I wanted to bring up and kind of look into next game, as we'll be without Noah and we'll be without Quizera.
Well, Matt, before we actually get to the next game, can I actually give a good or a better? I don't know where it's going to land on my board.
Sure.
So before this match, I wouldn't shut up about it, but I kept saying we needed to win the midfield to win this match. And I want to give a big shout out to Clay, Ibarra, Haraval, Noah, and most of all, Kano. I thought the way that we set up in this one was really, really smart to nullify basically the only way that San Antonio can get to us, which was winning the midfield battle and then unlocking Hernandez. So just to bring everyone through this, I thought the setup, usually we see like a 2 midfielders, right? It's usually Ibarra or Haraval and Clay, or kind of a combination of those 2 players. This one we had Ibarra, Haraval, Clay, and then also Noah playing a bit more of a 10. So we really packed the midfield with players. And in this one, Ibarra was 5 for 8 on ground duels won. Clay was 7 of 10. Haraval was 9 of 14. On that yellow card too, which is incredible. And we limited Hernandez to no assists and no big chances created. And we limited Lambert, who I had in the Providence Brewing slides. He's in the 99th percentile in duels won in the midfield. He was 3 of 7 for 43% in this match. So that group just like hunted as a pack, and I thought they were mixing, matching. They were trading off all night, and I thought that was a really, really smart move by Kano, and the players on the pitch executed it really well. So huge shout out to them, and I think that's really why we ended up winning this match.
That's really well said, and I think that goes back to kind of the familiarity they kind of grew and fostered in the absence of Jack P, which kind of brings me into that point. And Andrew Quadros asked a question a little bit earlier about Brito subbing in over Jack P in that situation says something. And I think we talked about. I wasn't as excited with Jack P's return as many others were. I kind of worried about.
I definitely didn't write like 700 words about it.
Yeah, like you were very excited.
Yeah, the internet definitely doesn't just live on forever.
But does that Brito cameo, and Jack P getting no minutes, who are you expecting to get the start for Noah against Tampa?
I do bet it's Jack.
Yeah.
I wonder if coach he's seeing Brito as that like super sub role, and he's seen him execute it so many times. And I do think it is different, and some players really can't adjust well to that super sub mentality or coming off the bench. So I could see him thinking like, I know Joe can come in and give me like a great 10 minutes. I haven't seen Jack in that scenario. Every single game that Jack has played, he has been a starter. And I also would bet that Jack P has probably been a starter at most games he's played in his entire life. He's probably been always one of the better players. So it just might not be something that he's used to. And again, Brito's really carved out that role for him. So I think coach is rewarding Brito for what he's seen from him in that role in the past. But I think someone mentioned it earlier. I don't want to say it's nice that Noah isn't playing, but it is nice that we do have Jack P available to cameo for him in that like number 10 role for the next match.
Yep. So is it going to end up being Gavi for Quezera then? Is that the kind of like for like we see? I think especially in the absence of Noah, where Noah probably could have filled in that wingback role as well.
I think it makes the most sense. Yeah, I can't really say anything else. The only other way to do it is to just like kind of change the formation pretty radically. And I don't know that we're going to see that at this point in the season. I know people are excited to see Amos on the bench. I know he's not really a winger in that way, but if you wanted kind of a controller out there, someone who's going to really, take care of the ball, you could put a midfielder out there. But I quite frankly haven't seen Amos really play ever. So I don't know what he could do out there. But I think the most like for like solution not to really adjust the team too much would be to put Gabby out there, which I would be very excited to see. Love Gabby.
Of course, Scott's going to chime in on this. Gabby isn't a winger. It's not the traditional winger that'll be deployed at. It'll be the wing back model with the three in the back, and then him and Turnbull as wing backs. I would see. So,
Scott, I want to see him just as a tucked in fullback more than anything. I really, really do. But it's just not going to happen in this system.
No, I think so. I think that's his best thing with kind of playing those long diagonals over the top or, kind of probing balls down the flank is what he does really well. And it kind of keeps him further back to help defend a little bit better. But it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes up. Tune in midweek with our preview. We'll be back in the away end with a Tampa content creator to get a little bit of their take on what's gone wrong with Tampa of late and kind of the fall from grace they had this season. They did absolutely own us earlier on, so hopefully we can put up a better performance. It'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out with who starts and what happens with this 11 kind of picking itself going forward. But any final thoughts, Ryan?
No, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, we got the 3 points. I think the team really showed in that second half. And we've seen this a lot in this kind of stretch where we haven't been playing our best, where we've been giving up some cheap goals in the beginning. But a huge second half performance from them, 54% possession, 11 shots, 5 on target, a big chance created, 5 corners. It was all 5 corners we had all match. So it's good that they're stepping up to the plate. It's also good that they got the first goal. And hopefully they can take the learnings from this match again and then bring them to the Tampa game. We have been better at home as of late. So again, hey, you win that match, you're looking even better towards that playoff position. So yeah, I mean, I know you asked me earlier about the must-win thing, but hey, it's one game at a time and try to get the 3 points in each one. So glad the team is starting to get a bit of momentum heading into this final 4 games plus hopefully the playoffs here.
I love what you said earlier about this midfield and how they played together and hunted together. I worry about, Noah not being in there and it kind of losing a little bit of flow and click in there. I do expect Jack P to start as well. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I think the biggest piece for me is how well the midfield linked up with the attacking players. It's something we did not see at all early on.
I thought this was probably one of our crispier passing games in a while.
If you think about early on, it was everything down the wings, bypass the midfield. But this was a game played predominantly in the midfield, and that was good to see. It was refreshing to see a different style kind of be played and utilized. And I think it was very much that those 4 were in such good alignment with one another and in synergy with one another, and we're able to just execute and play really, really well together. So I hope we can grow on that. I hope Jack P can kind of come in and replicate what Noah did, and then we can just kind of keep going from there as well. But I really like, again, I gave Kano credit earlier, but I especially this late in the season to make a change like that, like it was a departure from what we've done in terms of packing that midfield with a bunch of play. Like we literally going through the lineup and I was like, wait a minute, like how does this shape up?
It's all work out. So yeah, you have to give credit there to the team, and it does show that they are still willing to make changes, especially depending on the opposition. So that to me again is another really great sign. Just like I was super excited about Kano kind of putting the way he originally wanted to play aside for this newer system we've been playing. So again, I think these are really positive signs as an RIFC fan for both this season and moving forward.
Yeah, well said. As Kevin says, a draw or a win against Tampa really paves a nice path for us. Make sure you tune into the Call Hog Corner tomorrow night, 9:00 on Twitter to get his take and get your voice shared as well in the corner. And then be on the lookout for our blogs tomorrow from Matt Hands with the post-match Beacon and Timmy with the player ratings. They're always good reads. Hopefully Timmy can relate some of the players to all of the food he ate and stuffed his face with at the Big E. That'll be pretty cool to see. But
craziest part is I watched him wolf down a massive sandwich after too. What a tour de force yesterday by Timmy.
Timmy knows ball, but Timmy also knows food. He can just truck through
it. If you need a recommendation in Rhode Island, Timmy's your guy.
It is it. We've got some of the Tide Talk cans left, so try to hunt us out at the tailgate for that next home game against Tampa. It is the highest trending RIFC podcast beer on Untapped, currently running a 5.0 rating. Based on certain reviews. You'll never sing that. Absolutely love it. Again, big thank you to Providence Brewing for all they did with us. Ryan and I have a really cool spot on the wall now, so it's really cool to see. And, thank you to everyone from the Tide Talk family that has made all that happen too, from, Kevin at the Call Hard Corner to all the bloggers. Just been a lot of fun kind of getting all of this stuff together throughout the season. And
most importantly, you, the listener. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you for tuning in each and every week, or on weeks when we win. I looking at the viewer count today, it was always much higher than after a loss. So Chuck says, nice job, guys. Chuck, thanks for getting all of the inside information for us for what it was like inside.
Yeah, we need to send a mold really each match now. This is fun. Yeah. I like getting that. Yeah.
That's it. So thank you again for everyone who tuned in. That'll about wrap things up for this one. Remember, Tide Talk is more than just a podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for daily social media content. Click that link in this episode description to follow all of our accounts. Make sure you catch up with us at the tailgate so you can try to grab a Tide Talk can as well. I've been your host, Matt, for my good friend Ryan. Thanks again for joining. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the Tide.
Up the Tide.